Welcome to the news and of the AM show. Now, a young lady has been shot dead at Maxima Junction in Kumasi. Eyewitnesses say two suspected armed men on a motorbike opened fire at her and made away with her mobile phone at around 9:30 p.m. on Tuesday. She was found in a pool of blood, bleeding from injuries in the chest. Nana Janim Boateng, who rushed to the victim to the Nust hospital, said the lady was pronounced dead on arrival.
Had a sudden gunshot. Boom, boom. So I rushed to the scene and moved my car and bring the victim to the hospital. According to the doctors, she has passed on. It's so sad. A young lady about 19, 20, 21 has been shot and they have taken her mobile phone away from her. It's so sad. It's so sad. The security must be up and doing. The insecurity is becoming unbecoming in the city of Kumasi.
Now, river dredgers on the Dunkwao end of River Ofin are back to mine in the river 3 weeks after the Operation Halt team invaded the area. Phase 2 of the renewed efforts to deal with all forms of illegal mining and the protection of the environment has seen the destruction of many mining equipment. But a return to the mining community of Dunkwao has revealed these dredgers are either on the river or mobilizing to return. Nana Yaujima was at Akwakrom in Dunkwao to investigate the destruction caused by the dredgers and filed this report.
In the third phase of Operation Halt, 28 excavators, 267 shamfans with platforms, 18 water pumping and milling machines were destroyed. The exercise was carried out by 400 security personnel. Every Tuesday is off-duty day for miners in Dunkwao and its environs. The day in local parlance is termed Breaking Day. The JoyNews team made a visit to the river on the day. At the Akwakrom end of the river, where the Operation Halt team visited, some shamfan boats are found floating on the surface of the river. According to residents, the dredgers, who have occasionally escaped arrest, are able to reach the area quickly to mobilize resources in building the mining platforms, causing harm to the river. Spokesperson for Dunkwao District of Small Scale Miners Association, Peter Aike, explains the task force has to do more in dealing with the menace.
I can say 50-60% are still on the water bodies. Why? Because they are in the hinterland. Where they are, the military cannot locate them. It is the community people who can locate them. And you will eliminate the community people from the fight. How do you want to win? Some places, they are doing these illegal things from the main road or the junction. You can walk like 1 hour, 2 hours before you get to where they are. And somebody from Takrady, military personnel, from Accra, from Kumasi, bringing him here to come and fight illegal mining. How does that person locate these illegal people? Come down to our level as small-scale miners and the community. We will help the government to win this fight because the environment belongs to us, the water body belongs to us.
The River Ofin has further deteriorated as dredgers continue to operate on the river. For years, dredging for gold in Dunkwao end of River Ofin has affected persons living in the area. Persistent alluvial dredging of the riverbeds and washing of sand for gold have narrowed the courses of various parts, causing siltation of the river and leading to flooding. Small-scale miners in Dunkwao believe the current approach may fail unless members of the community are involved in the fight. Peter Aike again.
We are going to be self-policing, meaning the small-scale miners ourselves will monitor the activities of our own members. If you do wrong, we will advise you to do it. If not, because our task force or monitoring team comprises with the police, the district, the MCE, the government officials to join together. So it's not small-scale miners alone who is going to fight the fight. We are helping the government to fight and we will win. But if government says that I am going to do it alone and I have the power, you will fail.
Since 2013, small-scale miners through their task force have made efforts to deal with the menace of mining on the river. Meanwhile, the association says the task force deployed to the area undertook exercises beyond their limits, burning excavators out of the concessions. For JoyNews, Nana Ojima, Dunkwao, Central Region.
Now, crashes on Ghana's roads have worsened, especially this year, as 1,450 people have been killed in just 6 months. This is a 27.19% rise compared with same time last year. Out of this number, motorcycle-related accidents killed 622 people and injured 2,500. While the National Road Safety Authority says it is making gains in other aspects of road safety, activities of especially Okada and tricycle operators seem to be derailing their efforts. In Techiman, however, traditional rulers there have joined local government authorities to change the narrative. Seth Kwame Wating recently visited this town and has this report.
We take you to the Bono East regional capital, Techiman, which hosts not only Ghana's biggest market, but that of West Africa too. The town is a major trading center attracting people from all walks of life. The narrative is that Okada and tricycles quickly sprung up and offered alternative modes of transport. These small vehicles may be everywhere in the town, but they have been confined and restricted to specific streets.
The Tricycle Council is very proactive.
The Dabenhine or Hineba Nana Owusu and Pibo Siako II says one fatal accident triggered this action.
There was a bullion van for Bank of Ghana came to have an accident in Techiman here some time ago, and some of the victims have to be airlifted. All this amount to one of the reckless driving of this tricycle when it crossed a tanker. Then it also veered towards the bullion vans and crashed. So as a kingdom, we realized that the way the population was just growing, and at the same time looking at the tricycle and other things, and the way people were patronizing, we decided to do something.
Under no circumstances must this happen again in this town. That was the resolution the Techiman Traditional Council made after that tragedy. Indeed, they walked the talk and met all interest groups involved, and then took action.
We decided to move all the tricycles from the main road, from the Kumasi end to the Holy Family Hospital end. Then we allow their system to be channeled through the ring roads.
So when you come to Techiman today, rarely would you find these commercial motorcycles on any of their highways. This has drastically reduced crashes. The National Road Safety Authority is pleased with the intervention of the traditional leaders. Kwesi Ejenim Boatin is the Bono Regional Director.
So the chiefs play a very strong role in the affairs here. So I think there's also respect for the traditional authorities and also their influences, quite enormous. Then also the police also do well to enforce their presence.
A lot of the youth in Techiman have been kept busy because of these tricycles.
Initially, we wanted to ban them, but we also realized that our natives, our people, our inhabitants are using them. Some are making good monies out of it. And for that matter, if you decide to block it, somebody is also going to go hungry.
I'm the chairman for Pragia Association in Techiman.
The leader of these riders, Awal Mohammed, says they had to comply and stick to the ring roads assigned them so they could remain in business.
As we speak now, we have over 2,000 in Techiman alone. So if we should all crowd around that principal street, it makes traffic very, very difficult. So they wanted us to negotiate so that we would have to take some part of the road so that other vehicles to pass. So we looked at it, surveyed the town, and saw that, well, we can also do it as an association. We called on our task force and other members and talked to them, and finally we agreed that through the principal street, we will not plow there. We will only outskirts it, and that will go connect us to the market.
Unlike other parts of Ghana, minors ride these tricycles freely. Here in Techiman, you dare not. That's according to Awal Mohammed.
We insist as an association that in order to curtail the rampant accidents there, all our riders should be at least 25 years and above. So with that, it's helping us, and so we have been creeping out those who are not that very mature, even though some one or two find their way in there. But anytime we see any of them, we some kind of seize the machine, call the owner to come, and then we advise the owner that this child or this person is not up to 25 years and above, so they should not allow that happen, so that we will have some say in the face of the law.
You have your license? Good, good, good.
These riders admit the law's frown on their operations. This is the reason they are abiding by all the road traffic regulations, so attention is not shifted to them. So here in Techiman, every single rider has been issued with a license.
My
name is Seth Kwame Boateng from Techiman in the Bono East region for JoyNews.
Now, President Akufo-Addo has added his voice to that of the Military High Command and Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwo in saying sorry to the overlord of the Wala traditional area, Nafuseni Pelpo, and the people of Wa for the brutalities visited on them by 86 soldiers from the 10 Mechanized Battalion Agri Barracks. He assured that government would do everything possible to ensure that such an incident is not repeated. He commended the overlord of the Wala traditional area, Nafuseni Seidu Pelpo IV, for the manner in which he handled the incident, which showed that he was a true statement. Well, correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
President Akufo-Addo came to the Wana's Palace almost 3 hours after the scheduled arrival time. The presidential jet carrying him and his handlers was unable to land at the Wa airport due to the heavy downpour. For 3 hours, the overlord of the Wala traditional area and his subjects were gorgeously dressed and seated with a tall wish list of challenges they want him to fix. That onerous responsibility of laying them bare fell on the hands of Jimpena Nakadri Ibrahim, who speaks for the Wana. He first commended the president for redeeming some pledges he made during the electioneering campaign before reminding him of the unfulfilled ones.
Dual carriageways from the SDD UBIT, that's the University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, to the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority office, and from the police station to the residency. Polyclinics at Busa and Boli. Third is elevation of the one municipality to a metropolis, and the carving out of a new constituency from the Wa Central constituency. 4, fencing of the Jamiat Islamic Girls Senior High School. Your Excellency promised to attend to it immediately and instructed the Honorable Regional Minister to take notice of it. This need is urgent now, as recently a notorious rapist was caught in one of the dormitories. His case enraged some of the teachers to the extent that they almost took the law into their hands. The situation, Your Excellency, is simply bad.
President Akufo-Addo pledged to fix the challenges enumerated.
As far as the roads are concerned, during my first term, we were able to asphalt 1,200 kilometers of roads in the country. It's the most by any government in the Fourth Republic. We've committed ourselves to doing 1,500 kilometers during my second term. And the dual carriage roads that you're required for a while, I'm sure will feature immensely. And the Minister of Agriculture, I don't know whether he has been informed, but if he hasn't, I'll inform him about this issue about the shortage of fertilizer in the area.
He then waded into the July 1 Republic Day 86 war soldier brutality, saying sorry for the incident and commended the Wala overlord for the role played to solve the issue.
And I was very happy to read in the newspapers that you yourself had come out to recognize that the promises that had been made had been kept, and that now we should put that incident behind us and go forward on a good note. And I want to congratulate you on the very statesman-like pronouncements that you made on that occasion. You spoke like a senior traditional ruler that you are. So I've come to add my voice to that of the soldiers as well as the Minister for Defense to say how sorry I am about the incident and to let you know that we will do everything possible to make sure that such an incident is not repeated.
Turning to the 2020 election, he stated that although the people voted to retain him in power, he was not satisfied with the results of the Upper West region.
But I have to confess, and it would not be honest on my part if I did not say that I was disappointed in the results of the election in the Upper West. When we went into the election, we had 5 seats in the Upper West. When the election results came, we had lost 3 and gained 1, i.e. in net terms, we lost 2 seats in the Upper West. Well, now you know what this region means to me and the people of the political tradition I represent. Several of the leading founders of our movement came from the Upper West. S.D. Domo, B.K. Adama, Abayifa Kabo, Jato Kaleo, Mumuni Dimbie, Alassane Bin Sali, they're all from here. The gift I want to give to the new Patriotic Party when I leave office in 2025 is that the MPP will be the majority party in the Upper West region.
The president later flew to Tumu to meet with the chiefs and people of the Tumu traditional area. He will end his first day tour of the Upper West region by commissioning the Tumu Business Resource Center. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam. What?
And that's how we wrap up the news this morning. But coming up next is the news review. Do stay.
It is well, eh? It really doesn't matter what you're going through. It is well. Listen, if you worry about the problems and you carry, can you resolve? You cannot. So just give it out to God and let him do it. And enjoy your life. Take it easy. So good morning. If you're just joining us and you're wondering, what are these people going on about?
Concerts, baby, we were TV, no?
It's not like we don't have problems, though, but, well, the problems, we can't resolve the problems.
I mean, even if you're an Article 71 office holder, your problems, child, but how you go do them? You go take them, so after all, the benefits
yeah. So, challenge CDA. So let's do the newspapers. The Ghanaian Times, the Daily Guide, Public Press, the Inquisitor. Okay.
The Inquisitor is inquisitive.
And the Finder newspaper. Those are the papers that I'll be reviewing this morning.
I'll do the Daily Graphic, the Finder, the Daily Dispatch, the Daily Statesman. That's a lot of dailies. Today newspaper and the Custodian. Those are the papers I'll be looking at. I'll start with the Daily Graphic. It says Article 71 brouhaha. Yeah, Article 71 brouhaha. Experts demand national dialogue, kick against recommendations for first and second ladies. We've heard from the TUC in recent times on related grounds. That's a story that I'll be delving into. Yesterday, when we had the former MP for Mion together with the Member of Parliament, Karen for Old Tafo, I noticed the banter between them about allowances, which we've had since the Rawlings era, by the way. And this has been some sort of convention, not a law, so to speak. And all first ladies, first and second ladies, appear to have benefited versus a salary fixed, which then the former member of Parliament for Mion was saying would be illegal. And now we've come to the point where both the first and second ladies have said, but you know the new twist. Now the NDC is saying that they must prove the sources of funding that the First Lady, for example, through the GNPC and other institutions, has got a whole lot of cash that she's used for different things. But how do we know that these sums of money, so to speak, to put it in these words, are not robbing Peter to pay Paul? In other words, are not from coffers that are public anyway, being shifted into other public coffers. I feel sad about the development. I feel our first and second ladies are being nailed in a certain way. But on the other hand, we do want to know, don't we? Because if, like some people have said, do you have almost close to 1 million Ghana cedis just lying around to push into accounts here and there? I've heard of one of her assistants saying that, but she's lived her life. She's lived her life. I mean, if she were in public service, she would have pensioned off by now. She's lived. So she knows what to do. She has her means of finances and all of that. So it's interesting. But for me, as a media person, I'm always interested in the probe and where it ends, just like with the CJ's matter. So it's all in there.
I just think that, we have to stop at some point because we're pushing this a bit too far. And it's just going to get messier and messier along the way. We've all indicated, and I think the majority of people, the reason, the backlash, and then the refund now, the talk was that they're not Article 71 holders, they're not public office holders, and so you can't scrutinize them like you would if they were indeed public service. And I think that we should get it right. And they've refunded. Some people have said, and I think it's legitimate, some people have said the First Lady's statement, for instance, should have indicated that not because of the backlash, but because it is unconstitutional, and just leave it there. I mean, I think such criticisms are fair. But to stretch it and now say...
But the allowances
the monies
are not
that you pay back,
unconstitutional, so to speak. They are convention that we've had. The salaries,
yes,
though,
exactly.
those,
But to say that, let's go back and see where they got the money for the funding. I mean, she's had her foundation for what? Since she became First Lady. And nobody has said, let's look at all the monies. It is now that because this issue has come up. I think we have to stop at some point, and the point is now.
And,
you
and
can
it's
disagree
important
with the
that
statements.
you say about stopping, because some have also said, okay, so if you want to do this, how about we go back? How about Lordina Mahama and Matilda Emisa Arthur?
Yeah.
How about Nana Kunodo Ajuman Rawlings? How about, and if we want to go back, we'll probably go back to
let's give them a break, because for crying out loud, they didn't go and put a gun at somebody's head to say, give me an allowance. You get it? And where is the money coming from? It's coming from a certain budget. Is anybody complaining here? The issue that has come up is the salary. Putting them in, if you like, they are Article 71 office holders, even though the argument from the other side would say that, no. What we did simply was extending the privileges of the president and vice president, and to now put a name there and say, we're extending, so your wife would get this, that kind of thing. And people have said that is unconstitutional. That's where the conversation is, and I think we should let it remain there.
But what do you think? Look, in different countries, there are different structures, but I've been taking a look at some of the biggest economies in the world, for example. Let's take the biggest, the US. I think it was Ronald Reagan who was questioned on this matter, and he made it categorically clear that his wife earned nothing. If you look at what I think is Joe Biden is earning, about $400,000 a year, that is that. They have other perks. The wife has other perks, but not a salary. There is no salary for floaters or the First Lady of the United States. No salary. When you look at the biggest economies in the world, at least from my checks, no salary for them. I think we should have just stuck with the convention of an allowance, because when you look at the other end of the script, these First Ladies do a lot that we don't even see. They are engaging in, and to be fair, from Teresa Akufo-Addo to, all of them, from Nana Kunodo, Teresa, and the others, Aliu Muhammad's wife and all of that, they have all taken up social issues that they've been involved in. Lordina had her own thing she was doing. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, especially in the health, the area of health, has done a lot. So why don't we just ensure that they have something to work with, maybe out of the presidential, budget or something of the sort, rather than a hard salary that we are going to give them 32,000, 33,000. I feel that is where the problem is. And I feel that is where some people would feel it is insensitive, because you are bringing it at a time when you are telling public officials, other people in the state, to tighten their belts. How do you think the people would feel? So while I agree that no, they deserve something to work with, people go to them. There are so many things they have to deal with as First and Second Ladies. But on the other hand, should we have gone for this hard salary structure. I feel that is where the problem is.
Yeah.
And someone who made this proposal was really not...
So people should stick with the issue and not go around now calling on other people to refund. This one is a choice. So they decided that because of all the talk, that's it. Doesn't mean somebody else should refund. I disagree with that.
Okay, so let's just wrap here. 1.2 million doses of Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines coming. You know, the U.S. has been generous enough. We're always on the receiving end. Receiving. 15 million, so I think 5 of them are Johnson & Johnson, 10 million Pfizer. And in Ghana, we're getting 1.2 out of the 10 million Pfizer vaccines. World Bank to release $200 million for Ghana's COVID-19 vaccines. In the middle page, put military brutalities behind you. President urges WA residents. Adria disturbances inquiry. My wife in hiding for telling the truth. That's according to a witness. And on the back page, no show on Tema Industrial Area, boom, Road, 11 months after sod cutting ceremony. But before you get into the Ghanaian Times, Maravi, a very quick one. I just had to do this. You see, yesterday, of course, we were talking about a certain Asin Central Member of Parliament, Kennedy Ohene Ejapon, once more. And I want to highlight this. I have read cases from other countries, stories about people, you know, threatening and all of that. I feel it is totally inept, reprehensible, diabolical, some of the things that have been happening. We saw what happened to Ahmed Hussein Swali. And now, Obi Sande Nano Esi Obiso beat him severely. What in hell is that? We did it to one person. Some people went out there and indeed finished off Ahmed Hussein Swali. And here we are, another person for merely doing his work. He did not choose to be there on that day. He did not choose that those things would happen in Adria on that day. He merely did his work as a journalist, and he's being targeted for what? And we can't sit down and turn a blind eye to it, because if it happens to one of us, it happens to the next person, even if the person were not in this media group. I think for this Member of Parliament, Kennedy Ejapon, there must be some real control mechanisms in this country. You can't go about threatening people. You can't go about inciting people to go and beat up someone severely. Especially not when you have said same in the past and someone has died as a result and nothing has happened. I don't get this country, Mama V. I am at my wit's end at what some people, sacred cows, can do in this country and get away with it.
So just hold it there. Let me, on the back of that, say that the Multimedia Group as a company has issued a statement where the group is pushing for investigations and protection for Erastus Asari Donko following the threats by the Member of Parliament for Asin Central, who also chairs the Defense and Interior Committee.
Can you imagine that? The chairperson.
A number of persons and organizations that have received that. We will be keeping you updated in terms of the responses that we receive. The IGP has been petitioned as well. And then there were other allegations as well in terms of monies that some Joy FM staff had allegedly gone to collect. And
we've responded to that as well.
That has also been resolved. In the course of our programming today, we'll share that statement also from our lawyers with you. But let me go through the Ghanaian Times newspaper. On the front page, we've talked about the First Lady's refunding. On the Adria probe, yesterday there was a witness who talked about seeing the late Kaka being dragged by his own brother. And she says, following that report to the police, she's been receiving death threats. We've talked about the COVID vaccine situation. Well, Dr. Ampon Sachiano says that 1.2 million of the vaccines would be in the country next week. Ghana World Bank signed $200 million agreement to procure 20 million vaccines storage facilities. Also another story in the paper. And then residents of Yeji and its environs in the Pru East districts of the Bono East region say they are living in fear as a result of the growing armed robbery cases in the area. It used to be a constant feature on the Yeji, Prang, Atebu highways, but it's even escalated. So it's gotten worse. So the paper is highlighting that situation. On page 3, The Supreme Court will on July 28 deliver ruling in the case in which Dr. Stephen Kwabena, opposing a former chief executive officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board, is challenging a decision of the Accra High Court regarding the $27 million alleged financial loss to the state in a fertilizer deal. That big ruling is happening on the 28th of July, towards the end of this month. An accused in the mini trial involving 14 alleged murderers of Major Maxwell Mahama is challenging the status of Mr. Babayaro, an independent witness in the trial. So, Augustine Obuo, lawyer for Kwame Tufuo, told the court, presided over by Madam Mariam Owusu, a justice of the Supreme Court sitting in as an additional High Court judge, that Mr. Yaro, who is a witness, was not present when the statement of Tufuo was taken, and he was just called to sign. Interested? Grab the paper and read the rest of the story on page 3. If you look at the back page of the paper, government yesterday took delivery of 16 ultra negative cold chain fridges to store coronavirus disease vaccines. And then experiences of selected women activists recorded in a research have been put together as a documentary to be used as advocacy tool in the country. That's it for the Ghanaian Times newspaper.
Let's check out the finder. Here's what they found. E&I battles government in court tomorrow over unitization directive. And then on page 8, COVID-19, Ghana, World Bank sign additional $200 million agreement. And the story says the second additional financing agreement worth $200 million for Ghana's COVID-19 emergency preparedness and response project was signed by the finance minister, Mr. Ken Ofri-Atta, in the World Bank in Accra on Tuesday, which is yesterday. And this agreement, signed on behalf of the World Bank by Mr. Pierre Laporte, the country director of the bank, brings to $430 million the support to Ghana's COVID-19 preparedness. We also know in recent times there has been a spike in the cases, and the GMA has complained about ICUs and the pressure on them. President Akufo-Addo apologizes to residents of Wa over military brutalities. I saw Kaka's brother dragging him to the bathroom. That is according to the witness you were speaking about, Mama V, who is now getting threats. Rebecca Samira refund allowances. They also declined any future allowances. When you go to the middle spread of the paper, SNIT to delete 13,000 names from pensioners' roll. I think we saw this about a day or two ago. 3 jailed, 58 years for robbery, dishonestly receiving. That's it with the Finder newspaper.
All right, let's do Republic Press. On the front page, it says NDC gloats. Ben will love this headline as well. NDC gloats over 5 million CJ's saga. No, let me read it properly. NDC gloats over CJ's $5 million saga. They have a way with their headlines.
Republic Press.
Yes.
The headlines.
Okay, so the opposition NDC is gloating over the $5 million bribery scandal involving a Kumasi-based lawyer, Kwesi Afrifa, and his clients, which landed on the doorstep of the Chief Justice, Akwesi Enim Yeboah. Although the Chief Justice is not directly connected to the scandal, the NDC is asking him to step aside to enable proper investigation to be conducted into the allegations against him. There was a briefing yesterday by the General Secretary. Details of that is in the paper. TUC kicks against salaries for spouses of presidents. Well, they have listened, right? And they have refunded, or they are refunding. Some teachers demand resignation of NAT leadership over promotion exams failures. And yeah, basically, those are the stories to share on the front page of the paper.
Let's check out the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Ghanaians have not been fair to first and second ladies. That's according to Professor Ajimandia. Story on page 2 of the paper. You can find out what the president told the NAT executives on page 11 of the Daily Dispatch. And then motorcycles accounted for 45% of 1,454 deaths between January and June 2021. Story on page 12. I think this motorcycle thing is getting out of hand. It's becoming a big scare. You know, when I'm crossing the road, and I always have to be extra careful because I'm looking out for that motorbike that could be speeding. Sometimes and they knock you down and that's it.
Sometimes you actually don't see them coming. They suddenly appear.
No, that's the thing. So even when I've got the car, you know, sometimes we signal the car to stop because you likely don't see them. You just, before you realize it, they are upon you.
Yeah. Happens a lot.
Also, Amankwa appeals to the youth bear with the Akufo-Addo government. In the center spread, actually, we have pupils forced to study in frail bamboo structures amidst lack of furniture. That's the Playo MA Primary School in the Eastern region. And then drivers, residents of Somanya want bumpy road, flood-prone bridge fixed. On the back page, Guta, and I saw this coming. Guta angry with Speaker for saying Parliament will allow Nigerians into Ghana's retail market. Once this came up, yesterday we spoke about it, I knew there would be a response from Guta. We'll see how that pans out. But that's it for the Daily Dispatch newspaper.
Let's do the Daily Guide. Most of the stories you already know, but this one, police intercepts pistol in fried rice.
That woman, she gave him a nursing mother.
So the police are already looking for this 23-year-old that Ben is talking about. She's suspected to be a Nigerian who attempted to smuggle a weapon into police cells. The dude is already in cells.
Just as the situation is now from frying pan right into the fire.
So was she planting something to put on the person who was already in police custody? Or was this for another kind of
So now you would want to find out what was the motive.
Yeah.
Though sometimes the law really doesn't look at motive. But one thing that interests me, right before we get into the story, there was only one cartridge. So the pistol and then one cartridge. And that brings so many things to mind. I mean, was it to aid a suicide? Was it to... There are so many things.
To help him escape.
Was it... Because it's just one cartridge.
Yeah, so, and again,
what was the motive?
There's also the thing. Was she planting some sort of evidence?
On him.
Exactly.
Maybe to implicate him even further.
Yeah. But they say, she fled before she could be arrested. That's why they're looking for him. And this happened last Sunday. The young lady turned up at the station with 2 packs of fried rice bearing the logo of a popular fast food. Packaged food was intended for a certain remand inmate, name given, who is currently at the cantonment cells. And then let's see the center spread. Okay, so center spread, the news one pull out. I will keep my body for God, Moesha, after suicide attempt. So there's been a couple of videos, and yesterday I watched, I think, a particular one that they're talking about where it is alleged that she attempted committing suicide, and there were some, good Samaritans around there who stopped her, prevented her from doing that. Okay, so a lot of people are talking. People have been talking, but that's the thing. Like when you're a public figure, it really doesn't matter what you do. People would talk, and people will laugh at you. People would. Accuse you, people will do all sorts of things. So listen, whatever her move is right now, we pray for strength for her, and it's my prayer that she'll find the right people around her who will help her through what she's going now. All right.
There's been this saying that if you want to please people, listen to everybody, then you might as well say nothing, do nothing, and be nothing. Yeah. I mean, maybe good or bad, people will talk about it.
Absolutely.
So you might as well just do what you
in the spotlight, with everything.
Well, it's not surprising. I think she should expect that. I mean, especially, look at
but it's hard.
Madam Abozigi, for example, and the Sika Gari and everything.
Yeah.
Now that she says she's moved on, people will talk about it, but it's up to you. Like the Bible says, by their fruit you shall know them. So if you've really converted, if you really mean what you're saying, live it out and don't leave it to people to determine who you are or what you've experienced, basically.
Yeah.
The Daily Statesman says NSS directs stakeholders to make payment through Ghana.gov. A picture there of the hardworking head of that institution. But the other stories have already been mentioned. I'll just make mention of these ones. Phase 2 of Let's Make Accra Work agenda to kick off. The Greater Accra Regional Minister has been talking about the Konkomba market as well, and the moves to relocate them too from Agboboloshi, at least those yam sellers. There's been talk about that, so story, their details there. And then Ghana losing out over ENI Springfield unitization stalemate, and that's according to lawyer Kwame Jantua. His comment comes 2 weeks after a court presided over by Justice Mariama Samu partly agreed with Springfield and ordered that 30% of all revenue accruing to ENI and vital from exploration and production activities from the Sankofa field be preserved in an interest-bearing account until the substantive case is determined. Then there's also on page 7, female coup plotter, in quote, attempted escaping using seduction.
In Ghana?
Where else? So
Coup plotter.
the second prosecution witness, you know of the, in the ongoing coup trial, Major General Peter Nicholas Ando has disclosed that Warrant Officer Class 2, Esther San Dekuwine, a former soldier who is standing trial as one of the accused persons, attempted to escape from lawful custody. And yes, seduction was supposed to be one of those tools in her arsenal she attempted using. I think I'll wrap it there for the Daily Statesman newspaper.
Okay, I'm done with my papers, so you can do the last one.
Yeah, the other papers I have also capture same, so we might as well go to my Joy Online and check out what stories are there.
Yeah.
If we go there, then we can check out what stories are making the headlines.
So whilst we get ready to do my Joy Online, there's something unfolding in South Africa, and if you could look at page 5 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper, says at least 30 people. I think last night it was about 45 people who had died in the violence which has been engulfing parts of South Africa since the country's former president Jacob Zuma handed himself into police last week. So almost 800 people have been arrested in the unrest, which began as protests following Zuma's jailing on Thursday. And people are looting. Yesterday I saw pictures of people.
It's terrible.
People are setting fire on garages with vehicles going off and that kind of anger, especially among young supporters of the governing Congress for Democratic Change Party, after a junior minister in the office of the president was videotaped splashing expensive champagne on a luxury vehicle he had reportedly bought for his wife as a birthday gift. You didn't understand?
He shared it on social media.
I don't know if he shared it, but it was a video that was recorded. Now, the anger is because they say this contradicts the principles and ideology on which the party was established. Popping luxurious champagne on a... We'll look for that video and share it.
You know, usually,
later.
and interestingly, another... in Cuba, you know, there have been protests there as well. The socialist thing and now the current president and the troubles they are facing. So it appears there's a lot of furore when it comes to some of these issues across different countries. But
yeah,
we'll be getting into more of
the
those.
video is the car is what? It's an Audi something. Okay, well, tomorrow I'll share the video with you. All right, before we go, it's a big happy birthday. Adepa Adoma Fosohene. Very happy birthday to you. That's the cute Adoma. Happy birthday to our dearest daughter.
Is that her watching the two of us today? That is us. That is us right there. And she's...
Okay, so Adepa is watching. Adepa Adoma Fosohene. I understand she watches every morning. So cutie, happy birthday to you. From Auntie Mama V and Uncle Ben, from Mommy and Daddy, from all your uncles and aunties to you as you celebrate your birthday today.
We pray for more wisdom. Adepa, unima adepa. That's it. AM show, adepa. We love you, okay?
Well, thanks for watching. Keep watching because Muftau is going to give us a wrap of events happening in sports.
Yep.
And then today we're talking about agriculture. We're talking about fertilizer. It's supposed to be at a reduced cost, but guess what? A lot of the farmers are not getting the fertilizer. And the allegation is that it's been diverted to the stores. So people, but, you know, it has a great impact on all of us because that's what brings food onto our table. Absolutely. We've got on-the-ground reports to share with you. So stay with us. We've got business also coming up on the show. Stay with us.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports on AM Show with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Accra House of Oak are champions of this season's Ghana Premier League title with a game to spare. Emmanuel Nete, a midfielder who played an instrumental role in House ending their 11-year wait for league title, says that he is grateful to his mother for the unflinching support he provided.
Mothers can either be incredibly annoying or very insightful, depending on how old you are. But their love is unwavering, and they always find the strength to ensure a good life for their children. Mother of Accra Hearts of Oak midfielder Emmanuel Nete is obviously no different. Gloria Kyodai, who is a fishmonger at the Nungwa market in Accra, went above and beyond the call of a duty to help her son make it in football. And the Ghana Premier League title winner is more than grateful.
The joy of my mom is to see the son making waves, making it big in his artistic career, and I'm happy. That is where my mom finds herself now. She's so happy we've been able to win the league, and she's a proud mom. She's so proud of myself. She's so proud of herself, even though in the beginning she had no interest in me doing this, but now the results are positive and it's yielding positive fruits. I say God bless her for me.
Emmanuel Nete's mom took supporting her son to another level and caught the eye when she turned up at the Nungwa market in an Accra Hearts of Oak jersey for the first time, following the Phobians' title triumph in over a decade.
It just happened that on the day we won the league was the day my mom decided to put on the jersey, which I had no idea about. But then I was given the heads up by my brother, and I told him to give me some shots of mom in the jersey. And coincidentally, it was behind the trade, the business that has actually catered for me through my education, supported me to where I am today. So that's how come the pictures were taken at the market, and I decided to show the world I've got a supportive mom who actually loves what I'm doing.
Such a touching story, and a special gift to honor your mom, who has been there for you all this while on the biggest stage of all. Kudos, Emma.
Now, let's do a story that has to do with Accra House of Oak winning the Ghana Premier League title, because appraisals continue to come from all quarters, and one of them is from the board chairman of Accra Great Olympics, His Excellency Amakai Amatefu. He has congratulated Accra House of Oak on winning this year's Ghana Premier League.
I wish to congratulate Accra House of Oaks from the chairman, Togbe Afede, the directors, the management, down to the technical team, the playing body, and indeed the entire family of Accra House of Oak. On behalf of myself and on behalf of the directors, the management, the technical team, the playing body, and the supporters of Accra Great Olympics. I think Accra House of Oak have demonstrated what determination, perseverance, and resilience can do in a tough competition as we've just finished. May I also take this opportunity to promise Accra House of Oak and all other clubs in the country a stiffer competition.
A stiffer competition from Great Olympics next season. That is the board chairman of Great Olympics speaking there. And now let's do some rugby news, where the national team, they are on image redeeming exercise as they come up against Algeria later today. in the Rugby Africa Cup. Ghana lost heavily to Uganda on July 10, and Deputy Skipper Prince Buama blamed the defeat on politics within the members of the Rugby Board. Now he says that despite these, the opening game, which was used as a warm-up exercise, shows that they are on course to defeating Algeria and booking a ticket to the next phase of the competition.
It comes with a whole lot of issues because mostly when we are preparing for our tournament, we have about 6 months preparation and playing some test matches here and there to see how the team will be much ready. But seeing these politics going on here and there, it's really affected our preparation for this tournament. And like, it's not been easy because as we are speaking now, the Ghana Rugby account has been frozen. But yet still, Mr. Betmensa make it possible for us to get to Kampala. So all those politics here and there has really affected our performance during our first game. But yes, still, the hope hasn't lost yet because we have our second game against Algeria, which is coming on this Wednesday. So me, myself, and the captain, Salom Gavo, we've tried our best to bring the guys together and motivate ourselves and make sure that coming this Wednesday, we'll come out with a victory.
From rugby, let's do athletics. And there are calls that the Ghana Athletics Association leads its athletes to win medals for the country in the Tokyo Olympic Games. President of the Ghana Athletics Association, Professor Francis Jodo, says that there's no one interested in winning medals than the athletes themselves. He says they're more motivated.
People ask me, what do I expect our athletes to do at the Olympics? And I'll give you the standard response I have given over a decade, which is that it is not there's no way I can want a better performance that exceeds what the athletes want. They are hungrier to do much better than we want them to do. And so there's no point putting additional pressure on them by saying this one is going to win gold, this one is going to win silver, and so on and so forth. I just think our job is to give them the best conditions that we're able to, and then we go from there. So when we go back to 2010 and 2009 and 2010, we recognize that we had some really major stars. I've always thought that Ignatius Geiser is the best athlete we have ever produced in Ghana across all the generations. So we were fortunate to come and meet him still competing. We were fortunate to come and meet Maggie Simpson, Vida Enim, Aziz Zakari, and we were fortunate to work with them for a year or two or so. But anybody when I looked at athletics in Ghana, I realized that these were, in 2010, these were athletes who had been competing for, in some cases, 14, 15 years. It was very clear, as it is with any athlete, that at some point, your fortunes are going to start dimming. And for me, the question was, what happens to our profile? I mean, these were some of the best athletes we've ever had, but what happens to our profile when these athletes bow out?
And that is the president of the Ghana Athletics Association, Professor Francis Jodo, talking about how hungry the athletes are. And the athletes, they will be joined by the boxing team, the Black Mummers, in Tokyo for the games. And three of the boxers, specifically Shamal Shaku, the likes of Suleiman Tete rather, they are saying that they are going into this game like Kakai. On this note, we say thanks very much for joining us for sports, but I'll leave you with the Kakai visit of the Ghana Black Mummers team to Tokyo.
I'm aiming high to bring back a medal from, this upcoming Tokyo games. I'm pleading all Ghanaians to support for me to achieve what my brothers couldn't achieve at the Beijing 2008 Olympics Games. I'm aiming high, not even me, even including my brothers. So I need your support, I need your prayers, just even if some days of fasting, to be good for us.
I hope you are praying for me, and for now I'm ready for the competition and I'm determined to win gold at the Olympics Games. So I'll really tell Ghanaians to pray for me to bring a medal at the Olympics Games. Thank you all, Ghana. I'm going to do it.
And I'm determined to win a medal for Mother Ghana. Although it's not easy, but I'm working hard to make it. So I need your prayers and watch me. 2020 Olympics game. I'm coming like a kite. Yeah!
But coming up next, right after the break, farmers in the Upper East region are complaining they are not benefiting from the Ministry of Food and Agriculture's fertilizer subsidy scheme, despite government's huge investments in the program. Government spends about 200 million Ghana cedis annually importing these fertilizers, which are supposed to be sold to farmers at 50% of the original market price. But as a result of alleged corruption, smuggling, and poor management of the scheme, farmers are not getting them. JoyNews Upper East Regional Correspondent Albert Sori reports that farmers are calling for a reform of the scheme.
In July 2019, a resident of Soin in the Bolgatanga municipality, in connivance with some unscrupulous officials, allegedly diverted about 900 bags of subsidized planting for food and jobs fertilizers to his home. The government fertilizers in these trucks from Accra were unloaded at a private residence late in the night instead of the district agric offices. It took the vigilance of some residents who informed the police to stop the illegality. In that same month, police in the Upper East region intercepted 1,000 bags of subsidized fertilizers at Navrongo that the smugglers were attempting to go and sell in Burkina Faso.
Sometimes you just see a car loaded with bags of sugar. You would think it is sugar, but it is fertilizer that they have put in sugar bags. They open the sugar bags and put the fertilizer inside and resold them. There's one Burkina market, Nyungu. They pass through Sapelga, some part of Sapelga to the place. When you get to the market, you even think that is Ghana because of the amount of fertilizer that they send there.
These illegal activities involving the fertilizer subsidy scheme are rampant across the country. The result is that the ordinary farmers are not benefiting from the scheme.
Selfish people, yes. Wicked people, people who are saboteurs to our economy, to the vision of Nana Akufo-Addo, are determined that they rather steal the fertilizer and give it to Burkina Faso farmers instead of our own farmers. Isn't that sad?
Alhaji Ahmed Bogobiri, a farmer plying his trade in the Tono irrigation area, says he and his colleagues are not benefiting from the subsidized fertilizers.
There was a time, I think in 2018, I went to Tumu. I met various articulated vehicles loading the fertilizer towards Burkina Faso. And there was an instant when I got one articulator packed. Now, obviously, I was so curious and asked him, what do they have in the vehicle? And he told me fertilizer. And I asked them, where are you sending it? That they were sending it to Leo, that's Burkina Faso. Between the villages around the Katsina Nankana, there are routes that go into Burkina Faso. And some of our farmers too have seen it.
Bukari Issa is a farmer at Jantega, a border community in the Boko municipality. His recent attempt to access the subsidized fertilizer scheme was fruitless. He recounts his experience.
We are just the last barrier before crossing to Burkina. If you heard that fertilizer has come and you have gone in to buy, they will tell you that you are not supposed to buy 10 mini bags as a farmer. So if you are lucky and you buy it, the following day you will hear that fertilizer has finished, knowing that they will just carry this fertilizer and cross it in the night. Some will even bring with the fertilizer, without even offloading it, they will just cross it.
Women farmers are finding it more difficult accessing the subsidized fertilizers. Boko West-based farmer Gilberta Akoka is one of them.
We suffer a lot. Women at that time are not seen. You go there, they push you up and down because they think that we women cannot buy fertilizer enough. No, I think it's just the cultural belief that women are not, you cannot compare yourself to a man. That's all. I think that is just that cultural belief. And also because they have a selfish mind. They want to do that so that when the men have bought enough, they smuggle out.
Alhaji Bogobiri blames the alleged corruption in the scheme on a decision by government to hand over control to private companies instead of the district offices of Agric, which hitherto managed the program.
Why is it that when the Department of Agric was handling it, we weren't realizing such smuggling? Because at that time it was cashless. You go and pay to the bank, bring your documents, and you are supplied. And now it has been deviated to the dealers. And obviously dealers are businessmen, and government officials too, knowing very well what they are. The system is corrupt. They will say they are supplying some quantity of fertilizer to a district or a region, only for you not to, there's no announcement for us to know that this region, Upper East, government is giving you this number of fertilizer. This time it is silent.
Even the criteria for selecting the qualified private fertilizer companies remain a mystery, as there is no transparency in the process. Although the distribution guidelines allow a maximum purchase of 15 bags, that is not being adhered to. Even non-farmers are allegedly buying more than the 15 bags. They then turn around and sell to farmers at a higher cost. Those benefiting from the subsidy scheme don't have to show any form of identity before they are allowed to procure the subsidized fertilizers. Reverend John Akarebo is a farmer and the Upper East Regional Focal Person for the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. He says these developments are frustrating the ordinary farmer.
We don't have representation. If the farmers would have representation at the regional level, then we can equally communicate the same to our districts. So when they know that this district we are allocated with maybe 50 bags or 100 bags of fertilizer, if you know it in the first place, you can be able to monitor. But you don't even know, how do you even monitor? When it comes to plant seed, they will say, oh, they haven't started yet. They haven't started yet. And when they start, it doesn't take farmers 2 weeks before we realize that fertilizer is short in the system.
The non-deserving beneficiaries, conniving allegedly with government officials, then smuggle the subsidized fertilizers out of the country to go sell at a higher price. As the Minister for Food and Agriculture admits, the situation is frustrating government's efforts to make the lives of farmers better.
That system of coupon was meant to facilitate the supply of fertilizers and seeds to the farmers. As it is, people are manipulating and selling the coupons to farmers. About 15 cities, somewhere we were told. 5 cities, 15 cities. And they are selling to the smugglers because the smugglers need this fertilizer they smuggle to Burkina for them to be able to come with evidence to me in Accra that they sold to the farmers. Yes. And stealing is criminal.
Clifford Amwa, who is the programs manager for the Organization for Indigenous Initiatives and Sustainability, August Ghana, which supports 6,000 women farmers, says the lack of transparency in the scheme is worrying.
Out of this over 6,000 women that we are talking about, not even up to half of them were able to have access to this fertilizer in the previous production season, which is very difficult for them and is not helping to increase the level of productivity they would have gotten.
The Minister for Agriculture has repeatedly assured that those responsible for such illegal acts will be dealt with by the security agencies.
We are not going to allow this to go on. We're going to punish people. We're going to throw people in jail to serve as a precedent and a warning to others that what belongs to the poor person, you don't take it.
But the farmers say
Their efforts to get the security agencies to take action over the years have not been fruitful.
The security agency, immigration, for example, gave reasons that where they cannot cope to make arrests over those who are smuggling. They gave instances where their pickups are not roadworthy, and certain times it is very dangerous to check the smugglers.
We have some farmers, and they have their friends across. Their friends can even give our farmers money to go and buy the subsidy and transfer. This is a big problem. We report, but the report, it doesn't help. If you report it, it doesn't help. It is politics. Politics has changed everything.
In the night, some people come with motor kings, and then they collect the fertilizer and go and cross the borders in the night. Some go with donkey carts, and it is in the night. And as a woman, if you even see, I have not been licensed. I don't have any authority. So even if I want to intercept and they get me, they can do anything to me. So I just see they are passing with it, but I cannot say don't go. Even the police, they know, not that they don't know, they know, they see. But they take their share and then they go.
So, what do the peasant farmers think could be done to solve this problem once and for all? Abdul Rahman Mohammed and Dr. Charles Inyaba are president and head of programs and advocacy, respectively. They want a comprehensive reform of the scheme.
Well, in the course of our discussion this morning, we'll bring the Peasants Farmers Association and their thoughts on this. But joining us for further conversation on the back of what Albert Sori filed from the Upper East region, of course, Charles Nyaba, Head of Programs and Advocacy, Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, will be with us. The Deputy Agriculture Minister, Yao Frimpong Addo, will also be with us. But Joseph Opoku Gakpo, usually you would hear him as a correspondent in Parliament, but he's also Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana Agricultural and Rural Development Journalists Association. And recently, I think about a month ago, you came up with, after research which sought to suggest that 3 out of 4 farmers don't benefit from the scheme. And so you came up with some reforms. First of all, tell us about your petition.
So essentially, we've been paying attention to some of the challenges within the agricultural space that deserve some attention, and trying to bring everyone's mind to it, as you would say it in a very literal manner. And the fertilizer subsidy scheme has come up as one of those very key issues deserving attention. A concern with the poultry industry, which maybe some other time we would get to, has also come up very strongly, that the farmers are struggling with getting access to market for their produce and all, and the poultry farmers are struggling. Or the fertilizer subsidy scheme. So across the country, we engaged farmers at that very low level, at the very district level, and did a survey of a sort, trying to get a sense of how this scheme is benefiting farmers generally. And essentially the idea is the fertilizer has been seen to be one of the very expensive commodities that farmers are struggling to gain. So with the subsidy scheme, government brings them in, facilitates its distribution, and then the farmers are supposed to pay about 50% of the price of the fertilizer, while government takes up the rest of the 50%. But the concern is that because of these alleged corrupt acts, alleged smuggling, then the farmers are not getting access to the subsidized fertilizers, so then they are still forced to go to the open market, which is more expensive. In fact, over the weekend, Rafiq Salam filed a story from Upper West about how there is shortage of subsidized fertilizers in the scheme, and the farmers are complaining about it. But annually, more than 207 million cedis is invested in this entire fertilizer subsidy scheme by government.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, and the figure has been going up. This is actually a figure from 2017, 2018. And this is another interesting bit. Just in 2017 and 2018, the Planting for Food and Jobs Secretariat itself reported that just for those 2 planting seasons, an amount of 120 million Ghana cedis has been lost as far as investment in fertilizers that had gone waste through unaccounted for fertilizers, the absence of the coupons and the tracking and all. So mismanagement of the scheme in just 2 years did cost the state 120 million Ghana cedis, according to the Planting for Food and Job Secretariat. And these concerns have been there for God knows how long now. This is a scheme that was introduced back in 2008. We all know that fertilizers are important components of any agricultural production. And that's what actually informed the whole idea of the fertilizer subsidy scheme. And if the farmers are not benefiting, but taxpayers' money is being invested in the scheme, someone needs to sit up. It's either we are dealing with the challenges so the farmers actually benefit, or then we stop sinking money in a basket. That's very much legal.
Absolutely. We'll come to why the association, for instance, thinks that if we don't have any reforms to the scheme as we currently do, then we're likely to see it collapse. But let me bring Mr. Charles Nyaba, who's head of programs and advocacy, Peasant Farmers Association. He's joining us also on this conversation. Good morning to you, if you can hear me.
Good morning.
Great. So first of all, let me get your thoughts on the subsidized fertilizer and how some farmers are complaining that they can't get it. Meanwhile, we know that it's been smuggled to Burkina Faso, for instance.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me say good morning to the Secretary of Depo and the Honorable Deputy Minister. Yeah, I'm currently on the field. I've been on the field for the past 2 weeks to engage my farmers on the, usually when the new farming season starts. Because peasant farmers cut across the nation to travel to see what is going on. And everywhere I went, especially the valley, where it is now a time for them to apply fertilizer, you cannot even find a single fertilizer in most of the fertilizer stores. Now, let me also draw Opoku's attention that contrary to previously that we do talk of smuggling of fertilizer, I don't agree with those who claim that the shortage is due to smuggling. There is no smuggling so far, to the best of my knowledge and the experience I've had on the field. The fertilizer is not even there to be smuggled. I am privileged, the ministry allowed me to bring 6 trucks of fertilizer. That is 12,000 bags of the 25 kg. I'm telling you, the queue that the farmers follow to come and remove this fertilizer from the truck before it even came down. You can't imagine it. Yesterday, 2 of my trucks came in the phone. The whole town from the community bodies and everything, they all came there to remove the fertilizer. I'm in my house and there's a queue in my house to see how they can get the fertilizer.
Okay, so what is the issue then?
The issue is that there's no fertilizer on the field. Now let me give you the history. There is increase in fertilizer price global. So the French government asked the companies to import the 150 Ghana cedis that they are supposed to sell the subsidized fertilizer. The cost of bringing the fertilizer to Ghana is higher than 150 Ghana cedis. So according to the company, if they bring the fertilizer, they won't be able to sell at that because they're also making a business. So it is about 3 companies who are able to bring fertilizer this year. All the other companies that government gave them the license to bring fertilizer, all of them have spoken to them, they've not been able to bring fertilizer. So if you remember, just the day before yesterday, a meeting was held with the fertilizer company. The government had to even adjust the subsidized price from 48 to 53 Ghana cedis. But that is not enough because now fertilizer application is seasonal. And this is the time that the fertilizer is needed. So since the fertilizer is not there, even if we get adjustment, if the companies are able to bring the fertilizer late, the farmers might not use it, or they may use it and it will not bring the benefit that we are looking for.
Okay, just hold it there. Let me bring into this conversation the Deputy Minister for Agriculture, Mr. Yao Frimpong Addo, who's joining us via phone. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for your time on the AM show.
Good morning, Madam.
Okay,
thanks for taking me out.
Great. First of all, I want to start with your tour. You went to the middle belt of the country not too long ago. I want to find out what you picked on the ground. What are the challenges of farmers?
Yeah, thank you very much. And most grateful to you and your crew. The rounds took us to Ahafo, Bono East, Ashanti, and Eastern regions. And what I understood the minister on the tour was that there's something does. He doesn't want to be an armchair minister. He visits the regions, I think, twice a year, find out the situation on the ground. So certain issues came up, and among them, especially women in agriculture, those in rice farming, the inputs that they require to be able to become more productive.
Like the fertilizer.
And the issue of fertilizers also came up strongly in all the areas that we visited. We also picked this issue of poultry, the shortage of feed for poultry farmers and all that. So there's a whole lot. And we also saw a lot of agro-based industry also springing up in some of those communities that we visited. It was a worthy cause that we undertook. And
okay.
Brought certain issues to the fore as to how we can take agri to the next level.
Okay, so can we talk about the issue of the fertilizer? Can we talk about the issue of the fertilizer and what assurances that you gave to the farmers on the ground, particularly in Bono when you visited?
Yes, we are just 2 weeks in the ministry. Myself and my colleague, Honorable Hardy. So it was a kind of learning exercise for us.
Okay. Okay, so what?
I'm coming. So what we intended to do was to pick certain things on the ground, so that when we take off fully, we know the challenges faced in agriculture, especially with this fertilizer issue. When we went, it came up that there is a shortage of fertilizer in this community for the farmers. The focus of the PFC was the smallholder farmer. And the issue is that there is not much land in some of these areas. So the little land that they have and they are cultivating, what we need to increase their productivity on that same small land. But if the inputs are in short supply, then it means that farmer that we say we are going to support is in trouble. So this fertilizer issue, because of the shortage and reading around and listening, putting my ears on the ground, what I gathered was that some of the suppliers could not meet the deadline for supplies, that due to certain challenges that I'm yet to find out. Yes,
okay.
They still say there's the shortage of fertilizer in those areas that I visited. I cannot talk about the other areas, but these regions that I visited, it came up strongly everywhere that we went.
Okay, great.
And because of that, it's affecting even prices. I mean, some individuals have brought in some of these fertilizers. The market prices, the open market prices, most of the farmers cannot afford. That's the reality.
Okay. So part of what we're doing, sir, is to also hear the kind of suggestions that some groupings have come up with for reforms. So there's a farmer association. And my colleague Joseph Opoku Gakpo is the head of the Agriculture and Technology Desk here at JoyNews, but he's also the Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana Agricultural and Rural Development Journalists Association. And they've come up with some suggestions. I want us to hear him because the group did some research and they say that if we don't immediately carry out some reforms, we will collapse the whole fertilizer scheme. So Joseph, the Deputy Minister is listening. Let's hear the suggestions that you make as a group.
Mama, if you don't mind, just before that, this latest concern that Dr. Charles Naba brought up, that currently, even beyond all the challenges that we're drawing attention to, currently there is general shortage in the system, as we've as well heard the Minister confirm. My colleague Elton John Brobe did a story that's on my Joy Online. That's all to detail what the problem is. Just to quote brief versions of that. Checks have revealed that the Planting for Food and Jobs program is likely to be a white elephant since government is owing companies who have been providing fertilizers to these farmers. Then the story goes on to say that it's been revealed that the Finance Ministry is refusing to release financial clearance to to the Agricultural Ministry to pay these companies. As to why the ministry has delayed, no official reason has been assigned, but sources have hinted that there are a lot of issues that are playing out, which is resulting in this. No fertilizer has been distributed to farmers from April to July because companies engaged in the program are finding it difficult to fulfill their obligations to the banks and continue to import more raw materials for fertilizer production. And then the story makes the point that the companies say they can no longer continue to finance the program as they used to, and according to them, the banks are unable to support them in the wake of government continued non-payment for fertilizers distributed to farmers.
So when was this story filed?
This story was actually filed just yesterday.
Okay.
It's under the heading Finance Ministry blamed for delaying debt owed fertilizer companies under the Planting for Food and Jobs program. It's written by Elton Brobe, and it's actually out there on my journal.
Okay. We will give the Honorable Deputy Minister, we know that he's still settling in, so he may not have all of the answers, but we'll give him an opportunity to react. But tell us about...
Quickly, so these are the suggested reforms based on the old known challenges that the scheme has faced all this while, as we've sought to draw attention to. That first of all, we should see a situation where the whole scheme is seeing a kind of reform that puts farmers at the very center of it. The whole idea that the Agric Ministry operating from Accra, although they have district offices, can find a way to get fertilizers distributed across board one way or the other without the necessary involvement of everyday farmers who are very much on the ground. And there are a lot of farmer groups. Some of them have very strong structures right from these district level to the national level. The Farmers and Fishermen Association, the National Farmer Award Winners Association, the Peasant Farmers Association, as we engage in them. So let's see a kind of reform where there are existent district committees of a sort that have farmers at the very much center of it, who are very much aware of the amount of fertilizer coming to the various districts for the necessary distribution. We think so that's very key.
Transparency.
That's very key to ensuring transparency. If eventually, when the fertilizers become available, they would get to farmers. That's one of the key things that we're asking for. Beyond that, we would want to see a situation where, as far as the various processes are concerned, these concerns about smuggling and unaccounted for coupons when it comes to fertilizer, they are real. They are very much real. The problem we've seen is that when some of these things happen, no one takes action, nothing gets done. We see arrests happening, the people are let go after 2 or 3 days, the case die, there is no real prosecution. The deterrence in that aspect of it is non-existent. We need to see more of it, and in our petition, we made the point to the Minister for Food and Agriculture that we would want to see him collaborate more with his colleague, the Attorney General, and the Interior Minister, and bring some of those to book so that then one way or the other, it serves as a deterrent. And then, more fundamentally, we would want to see a situation where a whole audit should happen of the scheme. It's more than, 12 years now, since 2018, so that then that audit will reveal what the other weaknesses are that would then allow for a situation where recommended measures should be rolled out. We've been doing this for, 12, 13 years now, the same way we've been doing it since 2008. Nothing has changed. But the reality is that the farmers are not benefiting from it, even when the subsidized fertilizers are available, which is why that audit is needed to then define the way forward in terms of how things should be.
Okay, Charles, before I come to you, Honorable Deputy Minister, if you heard Joseph outline the issues, before that he read another story, whatever you want to react to, sir. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much. And if I could tell you that I'll meet him in Parliament today to continue the discussion. Yes, some of the reforms, I agree with him that they are proposing. But you see, people should also know the farmer associations, wherever we visit, we met farmer associations, that there's no way any ministry can operate, especially the Ministry of Agriculture, can operate in the district without working through the farmer association. I mean, as a private consultant for years, it is something I've done over all those years, talking to farmers, because without them, there's no way you know what really is their problem. So that one, maybe we have to go into it a little bit deeper and see what is the role of the district directors of agriculture. And all the let me also go to this thing. All this is happening because of what happened in the COVID year. Most of the shortages that we are seeing are the consequences of the COVID situation that the whole world found itself. It's affected almost everything, and agri is no exception. It affected everything. It has affected supply. It has affected money inflow. And we are in this situation not because somebody is deliberately sitting on fertilizer somewhere or money somewhere. It is a case of the world in crisis. But the minister on our rounds gave assurance to the farmers. And look, it is true, we are going through all these things, but it is something that will pass away. The way we are talking to the suppliers and all that, I'm pretty sure that we will get these things settled, especially in the north where they are now starting their cropping.
So the issue with the finance ministry, though, has it been cleared?
That much, I'm not in the know. I'm yet to find out from the minister if it has been cleared. But he gave the assurance, so we met some of these farmers, that very soon this thing will be over.
Okay.
They are talking among themselves in cabinet, and he sent several things to the presidency, and I'm sure that the way he is passionate about this issue, because planting of food and job is his baby, and he wouldn't want that baby to die so early. He's in his fifth year now, and he wants to see the baby grown to an adult so that the food security that we all care for will be ensured.
Okay, so sir, just hold on for me, because Charles Nyaba has been getting queues. People have been queuing in his home looking for fertilizer. So let's hear him with what he has to say now that you're listening. Charles?
Okay. Thank you so much. Honorable, I'm currently in the Upper East, Navungu to be specific. Yeah. Yes. So let me first of all try to confirm some of the issues that Mr. Opoku raised. We had a meeting with all the fertilizer companies, including the ministry, and they confirmed that the highest company that got paid is 30%. And those are about 4 companies that got that 30% payment. The rest of the companies have not received a payment from the Ministry of Finance. And that's one of the problems. The second issue has to do with global fertilizer price increase. And I agree with the minister that there's a shortage global. So the companies, the manufacturing companies, prefer to sell to India and China compared to Africa. So that's the other issue. Now, the issue of smuggling that Opoku raised, let me also confirm that this fact that the ministry gave me to give the farmers, you will not believe that smugglers came to me that they could buy the fertilizer 2 times the price that we are selling to the farmers. Wow. And I thought I was going to call for their arrest. And they vanished in the place because promise remains. So the point I'm making is that what Opoku said, we have farmers, I know the farmers. So this fact that we're giving everything, even the director of Agri, came around and he has to come and buy it for me. Because I'll tell you that, look, if you're not buying, if you're buying more than 20 bags, I'm not giving you. Wow. And I'm there to ensure that the fertilizer is actually going to the farmers. Now, the challenge we are likely to take is that, because we did a campaign to promote Ghana rice last year, when it comes to the northern part of the country, you take the police staff, the Yaba, all the police, the valleys around it. People have increased their acreage to the extent that government even supported by clearing the land for them. All those people, their right is ready for fertilizer. They can't even get it to buy. Even the open market fertilizer is not available for them. So that's the challenge. So if you don't find immediate solutions to these issues, it's actually likely to affect the farmers so much, and our food security situation coming next year. Now, Minister and his team visited DA. You see, the challenge is not that much in the southern sector. Southern sector, the fertilizer consumption is low. The soil fertility is still good compared to the northern sector. For northern part of the country, where we do large-scale cereal production, and the lands are virtually infertile, if you don't put fertilizer, you are not going to get anything. And it's the time for us to act now. So to me, I agree with all the recommendations that he gives. The ministry tells me to look at it. The fertilizer program needs to be reformed. And the recommendations we are giving within government expenditure down. There are a lot more people who buy this fertilizer not to apply on their farms. They take it to either Burkina or to Togo to check.
So it will get to a point where government is targeting farmer groups
Okay.
who have their members on the field.
Okay.
Once you give to them, they go their members and they will supply the fertilizer to them.
Okay, so Charles, let's allow Mr. Yao Frimpong Addo to react to what you've just said.
Yes, Doctor, whatever is happening in the north, we are very much aware. Although I'm new in the ministry, but because of the exigencies of the times, I've been reading and listening to a lot of such concerns all around the country. And you see, the northern sector, as you rightly said, is the food basket of this country. And if such a situation is happening over there, any minister will have his full attention at the place. For last year, but for the northern region, because the rain failed us in the south, middle and southern belt, but for the northern region, that gave us all the that the post of right now. We're going to have crisis as far as food security is concerned. Therefore, all the concerns that are being given now, we are taking everything on board, and hopefully, I know the minister is also listening to this program. This morning, when I get to the office, I will go to him, brief him, other colleague, about the situation, and we are very much aware of it.
Okay.
We just have to gather everything that is within our power to help the farmers get the fertilizer. The prices is a problem, and then the availability. There are two issues: availability and price. And if you are faced with these two key things in your food basket, then you need to work extra hard to get the problems resolved.
Okay.
So there's nothing for anybody to deny. I mean, or whatever is happening there is real, and we just have to get our house together and then try to resolve these problems to help the farmers.
Okay. Well, sir, we will leave it here. But as you said, Joseph is in Parliament with you, so he would be bringing us the updates as and when you do get it. But thank you so much for joining us on this conversation with your perspective. So Deputy Minister for Food and Agriculture, Yao Frimpong Addo, also a Member of Parliament, joining us. Charles Nyaba, thank you so much for your time as well. It's good that we put it out there, and the Deputy Minister has followed the conversation. So we'll be going back to him and bringing the new development from this story. Thank you very much for your time. He's Head of Programs and Advocacy, Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. But Joe, with regards to the petition, what did the minister, because you met the Minister for Food and Agriculture, what did he say?
The document was dispatched. We are actually still awaiting the
But he's in Parliament with you?
No, the minister himself
yes.
Is not a member of Parliament. Dr. Koto Usefri. So it's the Deputy Minister, who is actually new in the system, who is still gathering
trying
all the
to settle
and settling in. He's rather in Parliament. So yes, so that bit of the conversation in terms of reactions and following up on it would actually happen. But just to make this point, just yesterday, even the United Nations released a report that confirmed a bit of the point that we've heard Dr. Nyaba and the Minister speak of, about how COVID-19 is negatively impacting food security. It's impacting the global supply chain. It's negatively impacting logistics in terms of moving food and input from one place to the other. And then the report drew attention to how more than 118 million more people are actually faced hunger in 2020 compared to 2019 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So admittedly, that's a bit of the problem. But what I think we should be cautious of is pushing blame elsewhere and using that as a basis to probably escape responsibility and explaining everything out and insistently making the point that because of these challenges, these problems can continue. How come that after all these years of farming and calling ourselves an agrarian country, we still import virtually all the fertilizer that we end up distributing to farmers? To the extent that today COVID-19 pandemic is impacting the supply chains. What has stopped us from developing our local industry so that then in fact, we are in a republic where we import seeds, including even sometimes tomato seeds from our neighboring countries and all. We need to change some of these going forward if we can build a resilient food system that can stand the test of challenges like COVID-19. And with all of these issues playing out and the recent complaint about fertilizer subsidy and all, attention needs to be paid to the likely impact of this on food security and how things will pan out in the coming year. We're hoping for good rains, but without the necessary inputs, food prices may end up skyrocketing and all, which is a huge challenge that we need to pay attention.
Well, thank you, Ghana Agric Rural Development Journalist. I like the petition. I like the suggestions that you bring on board, and I like very much that you're following this issue, because I think most of us have been concentrating on the other matters, but this is the one that brings food, and without food, we're nothing really.
We are very much grateful to yourself and your team.
So keep following up on this, very important issue. It spreads across, as we've seen. It's everywhere really in the country. So we would like the updates when we do get updates. Thanks, Joseph Opoku-Kakpo, who's also head of our Agric and Technology Desk here at Joy News. Well, on Sunday, Joseph, do you want to be here whilst I read this?
Shoot. Okay. You know I'm a fearless guy.
On Sunday, Accra Hearts of Oak, the only Oak, annexed the Ghana Premier League after 11-year drought. Yeah, whatever. Well, Joy Sport George Adejinia has been interacting with the former president of the Ghana Football Association and stalwart of Hearts of Oak, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, on what this means to the club and future plans to sustain this verve. And here's that conversation. Phobia Masters.
So, Doc, thank you very much for your time and congratulations for winning the Ghana Premier League. How do you feel? I mean, how did you feel on Sunday after that results came in and it meant that Hearts of Oak had finally won the title?
Well, I feel very, very happy. And I feel also that as a former military officer, at times you have to take decisions that are not popular with the people, but definitely it turns out to be the best decision. And the whole league started on a very, very rocky path for the club. We had criticisms and attacks from all corners. And what worried some of us, particularly on the board, was that most of the criticisms were coming from our own club members and supporters, and that was a bit disturbing. However, we decided we should forge ahead. Now, we had problems with the Atenka team. I think you are very much aware. There were quite a number of resignations, left, right, center. And also, we had problems with coaches. Some of the coach, the trainers that we engaged. Some of them live in telling us. Now, one thing I must say is that the boys, the players, were very solid. They were first the management and the board, and I can say that some of our achievements have come principally for that. The chairman of the board of the club, Dogbe Afede the 14th. You see, until I worked with him or started working with him, I never knew him. But there were certain qualities that I found in him, which were quite identical with my own way of doing things. One, he's very truthful. Two, he's straight to the point. Three, he's hardworking. Very, very, very hardworking. That I can say he is harder than most people that are absent. Now, he's somebody who can take decisions, always has ideas. And he found working with me very, 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 very convenient for him. Because we discuss issues, at times we disagree, we argue about it, and then later we see the right course and we pursue. So are other members of the board as well, who have done wonderfully well. And I think what rather discouraged me a bit, if I would say so, that unlike past office holders of House of Folk, who when you leave office, what you do is to come and support the club, actively support the club. We didn't have anything like that. If anything, rather criticisms, left, right, center. Now, despite all these sort of difficulties or challenges, we have been able to win the league. And I think I thank God very much for that. If you give us strength, we have in the pipeline a lot of projects that will come out and that will shock the football world, particularly either in Ghana or West Africa. We are building, what do you call it, a new institution, an academy, beautiful academy. We are coming with 4 playing fields. Natural, when I say 4, 3 will be natural and 1 will be Astutech. We are building a place where the boys will live. They will live there like you have in any boarding institutions. We are going to have a place also for those who like probably to hire and come and stay there when they come to play in Ghana. We shall have a huge tennis court, a huge swimming pool. I mean, all these things are in the pipeline as I told you. Work is ongoing. It's not a question of work is ongoing. And very soon, our secretariat that you know in Accra, we are going to bring it down and build a brand new 4-story glass house.
Wow.
All this come out. Indeed, we want to finish all this before the end of the year. Because all the paperwork has been done already. We are going to have a special commercial house also within the vicinity of our secretariat. So you can consider there's a lot being done. And all I'll do is I would like to appeal to the supporters of the club. Website patients. Yesterday at the stadium, they were the loudest more than anybody. They were the happiest. Yes, I have handled House of Folk in crisis before, where when I look at the situation, I was compelled to put 21 regular players on transfer. That is sack them. And started a new team, and it worked. We won the league. So certain things don't get me worried at all. So I will pray that in the coming season, we do better. And particularly, I'll go into CAF now. We know what to do. We are going to beef up the players we have, and we are sure to come with the cup once again. So this is all that I will say.
Yes. Doc, let me ask you about this one. Why were you sure that Samuel Gwedu was the guy to lead you to the trophy? Because you were very swift in making that decision. What did you guys see? Why were you convinced?
You'll be surprised. Gwedu's case is quite an interesting case. I was saying we didn't really see him as a special figure per se. I remember I had a talk with him, and during our discussions, I was convinced that this is somebody who knows exactly what he's about, and he can work. And now, when he left his previous, club, the day we were expecting him to start work at our end, he didn't turn up. So I was worried. So I called him. I couldn't get hold of him. I asked somebody to get hold of him. And he assured me that he'll be in at a particular time, which he came. I think by then he was moving his items from Takwa to Kumasi and route to Accra. Now, when he came, what I noticed, and I'm somebody who frequents the training grounds a lot, what I noticed was that this is a disciplined guy who knows exactly what he's about. So we gave him that chance and opportunity, and he's proving himself right. He listens. You know, prior to this, there have been a whole lot of accusations that directors have been dictating. These are all lies. I'm telling you. You know me. I'm telling you. No director has enforced it. I'm not, at least not me. If people say so, it's a lie. Directors don't dictate to the technical team. They might suggest, if you like, you take it. If you don't like, you don't take it. Now, one point also I'd like to bring in it also is that our presently a physical instructor who is also responsible for the boys' fitness and everything is also responsible for their welfare. And that is W01 Tando.
Tando, yes.
And I feel so happy that we have that gentleman. But I remember I told the board, and Togbo in particular, that I have been a soldier, and when I say a good soldier, I know it. And we have to pick this man, and we shan't regret. And believe me, he's come up on the tops as well. So this is how we have managed the club so far. And before the end of the year, God willing, you'll see things you won't believe.
Okay, Doc, you are a true and true Accra Hearts of Oak fan even before you become a board director and all of that. When in the season did you feel that the trophy was coming home and coming to Accra Hearts of Oak? At which stage did you think that it's becoming possible or it is possible?
When we had a match at Takwa, I think it ended up in a draw, so I can't remember now.
Yeah.
And then we continuously won 6 matches. Meaning it came in late. Let me explain that to you. This striker, Obeng Jr.
Could you Obeng Jr.? Okay.
Now, Barnier, listen to me very clearly. Barnier case is interesting. I watched Barnier, I think their last match when they played in Mauritania or whatever they played that match, when he was the captain of the
AFCON, yeah. Under 20.
I told myself, this is a good player. But then I didn't even know that he was part of of the club.
Oh, wow.
I'm being frank with you.
Yeah.
But when I watched him train, I said, this boy had to be watched. But he was hardly fielded by the coach. At times he would come in for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So one time I remember I told the boy, I said, look, bud. He said, boy, chairman, this boy Bine, we should try him. Bine is definitely a brilliant footballer. Very slippery, has the strength. And he told me, he said, oh, dog, it seems we are thinking about the same thing. So I said, okay, let's see. We find a way to let the coach know, or we suggest to him if he should try. As I said, the coach also is a listening coach. He tried him once in the second half, at about 10 minutes to full time. Then gradually it increased. And now he's taking his position. And believe me, he's brought a lot of change to the club. So also is this young chap, One Mensah.
Isaac Mensah.
Isaac Mensah is another boy that has to be watched carefully. Because I have been with Hearts of Oak for years, and when I see a good player, I can tell you. Because when I remember very well, when I had Shamokwe, Abradekuma, Joado, and others, there was one thing Coach Kobna, may he rest in peace, told me. He said, Doctor, these boys will come out great footballers, you watch. I mean, when Kobna was an experienced coach, and then they came out as great footballers. And since I have mentioned Kobna's name, let me take this opportunity to thank the members of the Council of Patrons, all those alive. That's Anna Ening, C.K. Dewonu. These are wonderful people. They are still alive, and they are advisors. And we pray to God that they live and live longer, and others who are on it. And I feel those who have departed, particularly people like H.P. Nyemite, Tommy Thompson, Harry Sawyer, Osekre, Ambassador Osekre, Dr. Quino, Alhaji Tijani, Alhaji has, and others I can't remember now. May God keep their souls, and I can assure them that our battle cry, never say die, will never, never, never end. So that's all, George.
Yes, Doc, I'll make it very quick so that you can move on to other things. But let's talk about the Kumasi Asante Kotoko game, the Super Clash, the Accra Hearts versus Kotoko game. How crucial was that game to winning the league as well?
Your question again, I didn't hear you well.
The game, the Accra Hearts versus Kotoko game, the second leg that was played in Accra, that Hearts won by 1-0. How crucial was it? How crucial was it in ensuring that Hearts won the league?
Oh, it was very crucial. Very, very crucial. In fact, it was one of the deciding points, to be frank with you. Now, I know their present coach very well. That is
Mariano Barreto.
Barreto. I know Barreto. When I was chairman or president of the Ghana Football Association, we employed him, Barreto. Now, I am not surprised that he started having problems with them, because Barreto left us unceremoniously as a national coach. I'm telling you. I was surprised he came back to Ghana. In any case, that one is our own palaver. But from what I have heard so far, there is no finding things comfortable at all, I think, with the leadership of Kotoko. And after we've defeated them, I knew that we are sailing home without any difficulty. And that is exactly what happened yesterday.
So are there any plans right now for the final game, the coronation game? Are there any plans? Because a lot of the fans will be looking at properly celebrating this one. How are you? Are there any plans? How are you going about it?
The next match is just this Sunday. I think the coronation was done yesterday at Accra Sports Stadium. we popped 4 bottles of champagne, expensive champagne. And that reminded me when I was chairman of the club years back, and I had these young boys, and when they defeated Accra Great Olympics, I popped champagne at the Accra Sports Stadium. But this time around, there were 4 bottles, 4 of champagne. That's never been done by any other club again. Once again, we always want to show that we set this, what do you call it, the pace, and others follow. That's all.
Okay.
I'm sure there will be some sort of ceremony there, but I can assure you that the crowning itself was done yesterday at the Accra Sports Stadium. The boys came, greeted management and board members, and luckily for us, there are ministers who are hassle-full diehards that I saw that they all joined us to congratulate the boys, and it was beautiful.
That's right. That's right. Just to pick on this one, is there any game that you saw as the most difficult game? Would you take that Olympics game as a very difficult one? What was your most difficult game of the season?
I think our match with Dwarfs.
Wow.
To me, was the most difficult game. They were determined to destroy us. Dwarfs. And I say so because if House of Oak had problems with any club, mind you, Dwarfs is equally an old club.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether Dwarfs is older than Kotoko or vice versa. But Dwarfs have always been worrying Accra House of Folk since I grew up as a small boy following Hearts. So Dwarfs that's why we call them, and they call themselves to mysterious. But we don't know how they score their goals. I'm talking about this when I was about the age of 10 years.
Wow.
Years ago. I mean, when the elderly people are talking about Dwarfs, you have no idea. At a certain stage, I was told that House of Oak has to come to some sort of compromise with them, because they always destroy our final celebration. Dwarfs. To me, our match with them was the most difficult one. But they were determined. They have a player there, I don't know his name. He wears a 20 jersey. That boy must be watched. He's a good footballer.
Right. So the Accra Housebook fans will say that they wish that the boys will stay here this season. I mean, for next season, and you can build another strong squad like the 64 Battalion and go all the way to win. Are we going to lose some of them because the cash will be good on the table? Is that going to happen?
Some of them.
I mean, selling some of them. You know, are they going to be transferred if the cash is good, or there's a policy to keep it?
I can tell you, not a single player is going to be sold to anybody. We know what we are about. I don't think fans is our problem at the moment. Those that we think they are good boys, definitely they will be maintained. And when we go to CAF and we come out in flying colors, whatever price any club wants from them or from us, it must be a higher price, not this 100,000 and 200,000 US dollars. We want prices that to click in millions of dollars.
That's really set up. So are we thinking about a double then?
The double, are you talking about the FA?
FA Cup, yes.
Oh, but I said it on television yesterday. We are going to pick the FA Cup as well. Mark my words. And it will happen.
Wow. That is very strong. Yeah, that's very strong. And maybe your final words to the fans who have been pouring out and watching the team. And at the moment, even the fans who were sleeping have all arisen from their graves and have come to join the squad already. So final words to the fans.
Oh, the fans and the supporters, I'd say big thank you. Some of them are so honest and truthful. Some there are boys there who have been following the club, years back when I was chairman, over 40 years ago. One key one I'll never forget is one day he's still around. These are honest boys who have dedicated their lives to the club, and I wish them good luck. And the others, I say, our motto alone, that is our battle cry, never say that, should always be their watchword, because that is what we believe in. If you are playing with House of Folk and the final whistle hasn't gone, don't think you have won. That's all.
Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, thank you very much for your time on this one. And once again, congratulations to Accra Housebook. We are looking forward to the double. We are looking forward to all the fantastic plans that you have for the club that would, in the end, help Ghana League as you create this platform for the young ones to do what they've got to do. So a very big thank you for your time and for this interview. We definitely wish you the very best of luck.
It's a pleasure. I'm very to talk to you. Bless you. I hope you'll be coming home very soon.
Yes. I'll be coming home very soon. Yes, I hope.
The English match is the European Cup is over.
It's over. Yeah.
I think you have to come back. We miss some of your programs that you do here.
I know. I'll be coming back very soon. Doc, thank you so much for your time.